Hey, well, it's Soul with another video. Today I want to cover the good news and the other news from the latest 9.1.5 build. Each week has been one more cool thing to add after another, and this week is no exception, but, well, stay tuned as I go over the highlights and the other lights. Nightborne glowy hands are now a thing. It's something that you can toggle on and off from the character creation screen or the barbershop person. Right now it's only on female characters, with the feature for the fellas on the way soon. Resources are being made a bit more plentiful in the patch. Expect to see more ore and callous hide, those jewel crafting essences, and oddly enough, lightless silk. I thought that the market was pretty well saturated with this stuff, but I guess I was wrong. Ultimate battle training stones cost only 35 polished pet charms, down from 60, which is nice. Especially because a lot of people won't retain this information and max level pets will still sell for a hell of gold. This one I'm personally happy about. You can now activate the Anima conductor for all available locations at once instead of just one per day. This is pretty nice because now you can progress through that reinforcement bar all the more faster and get access to all of them rewards way sooner than you could before. Of course, towards the end, you'll be back to powering up only one note at a time, but this makes the start of this process extremely accessible. The Soaring Spelltome's model is now available to look at on the PTR, but looking at it is about it. WoW had data mined what the mount special looks like, which isn't worth too much attention because, well, we don't know what our characters are going to do, obviously. Meanwhile, I'm paying attention to the way that you mount up on this thing. This follows a trend from other mounts like the 30th anniversary Snowstorm mount with a special looking mount animation. I've seen some early reactions that this mount looks like trash. It's like super lame looking, but you can't fool me. If this mount was instead revealed as another 6-month promo on the Blizzard store, we would hear the same old song, people crying that only the unique mounts with special mount animations get on the store, something Blizzard lawsuits. You know it's true. This mount is allegedly linked to some new achievements in this build, specifically the one called the Tour of Towers for completing all 7 Mage Tower challenges during Legion time walking. There is an introductory achievement, a towering success for completing one, but there's also a feat of strength for completing all 36 versions of the tower across every class and spec. Tower overwhelming, absolutely must have been on some developer's shelf of insider puns, and they were just waiting for this to be unleashed. I hope it was worth it. Side comment, it's nice that people get a chance to be acknowledged for a tremendous effort like this, but it does suck that these achievements only apply to the time-walking version of the Mage Tower and not what you've done back in Legion proper. Not to be fair, people who did do that do have a lot of artifact weapon appearances that so far we cannot get now. With 9.1.5 coming out, there's going to be more to unlock, and there's a cherry on top. Now let's get to the controversy that's going to make the rounds for the next week or so. The attack on your childhood begins in Karazhan, where trash packs of all female mobs in the lower half of the tower now include male characters. They still follow the same theme of a bit of debauchery, just that it's shared between the sexes. And that's kind of it. Like a blood-off male wearing a gown is honestly well within my line of tolerance compared to, I don't know, Gorefiend. This tells me that if the harem party in the Black Temple is within Blizzard sights, it's going to be approached with the nuance of a paintbrush and not exactly a sledgehammer. And I could be wrong, but we'll have to see. You know how /spit was, quote, removed in an earlier version of the PTR? No, of course not, because it wasn't actually removed. It only works when you're not targeting anything, whether it's a player or an NPC. The only place where you can spit is on the ground, which is disrespecting the Earth Mother, you monster. Emotes have been changed in this build, and I'll first mention which emotes were in fact removed from the game. Now let me be clear, the following 4 emotes are gone. Stink, which is like ill, someone smells. Shake, as in that thing the orc females can still do. Then there's moaning and kicking, which I don't even know how to do, so I definitely won't miss that one. Those emotes are gone. They're just gone, but new emotes have been added, and thanks to Wowhead for data mining these because they're not fully testable on the PTR. They include Huzzah, Magnificent, Impressed, and Winced, like ill. One could say that we're trading 4 for 4, but this is clearly not a case of replacing emotes with euphemisms like, okay class, instead of making eye contact with someone and saying, damn son, you hella stank, instead say this, hey friend, you want to get some fresh air and talk about social justice? Meanwhile, multiple emotes aren't being outright removed, but their language and behavior will change. Pouncing and groaning are being made to be less aggressive. Instead of pouncing on someone, you pounce towards them, and instead of groaning like, ugh, you clearly groan in pain like, ugh. You hear the difference? Good. Finally, drooling, coughing, burping, farting, whistling, spitting, and mooning can no longer be directed at a player or an NPC. You just moon everyone, I guess. So make no mistake, this is a nerf to emotes to make them less aggressive, and in Blizzard's words, when used when targeting another player, their intentions can turn unexpectedly suggestive or intrusive, sometimes in a negative way. Anyone who thinks otherwise is either new to the world of Warcraft, welcome, or is someone who makes very liberal use of the flag of ownership. They said sometimes these emotes are used in a negative way, and that sometimes is important because so far they are not touching the universal /E, which lets you customize your emote in any way you wish. Our peers and infrequent users of these emotes can mostly ignore or adapt to this change. There are different facets to the discourse here, like we can argue against these changes because they're not necessary. Blizzard should be using its energy on making the game better and fixing its internal problems. Others would argue that these changes are a reflection of change inside Blizzard that's happening now, and that they're settling lawsuits and making changes as recent as this week. Some say this is a nerf to player expression, while others say that the people complaining over this express the kind of behavior that Blizzard doesn't want in their workplace or their game. And that's where the discussion gets really messy. I mean, just look at the comments below for proof of that. As someone who doesn't use emotes at all except to hug and kiss my wife's character while we do quests, I don't have any skin in the game at all, so I'm curious where you lie in this conversation. And with that concludes the highlights and I guess the overview of this patch outside of the regular shifts and changes to balance tuning. I'd love to read some of your thoughts on the stranger changes, but also more requests of what hasn't been touched yet that you really think should. Leave your comment and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so I can keep letting you know what's good and what's kind of weird. I'll see you for the next video, but until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.